Hey, thanks for joining me here at Between CAD Classes. Today we are going to model this part in Autodesk Inventor. If you would like to try this along with me, check out the description below for a link to the image file. To create this part, we are going to create some extrusions, some holes, some chamfers, quite a few fillets, and I'm also going to show you how to create a full round fillet as well. Let's get started. I will begin by creating a new part based on the standard inch.ipt template. Then I will start with a sketch. I'm going to begin by creating the left side of this part here. So I'm going to create a new sketch on the front plane here. And there's various different ways we can create this first shape. I'm going to begin by drawing the circular shape at the origin here, and that's going to give it a diameter of 2, since we were given a radius of 1. Then I'm just going to use some lines to draw tangent to the top. I'm not going to worry about the distance just yet. I'll come back with some dimensions. Then I'll bring it down until it lines up with the bottom, and then back over. I can see it added the tangent constraints. If for some reason it didn't, you can come back with the tangent constraint tool and add them yourself. I can also see, however, that while it added the tangent constraint, it didn't add a horizontal constraint to that line, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll select my horizontal constraint and select the line. I'll escape out of that, and I can see that I just have one flexible piece of geometry here, so I'm going to need to add in the dimension of 1.75 from the center to that line. So I'll go ahead and do exactly that. Dimension, center point line, click to place it, and we'll go with 1.75 for that one. I could leave these two shapes complete and then have two profiles to extrude. I'm going to go ahead and use my trim command to trim the inside of the circle there. I could add the hole as a part of this feature, but I would prefer to do that as a completely different feature for some flexibility later. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish my sketch, and then I'm going to extrude this. Taking a look at my print, the right side of the part shows that the circular feature has a radius of 1.25. So that means the full depth then would be 2.5. So I'll go ahead and enter 2.5 for my value. And I'm going to set this to the symmetric option. That way my original sketch plane is running through the middle, and that will help me line up some other features later. I'll go ahead and click OK. Next, I'm going to add the cut features. So I'm going to create another sketch, and I will just go ahead and sketch on top of the part here. I'm going to rotate my screen so it's oriented the same as the print. Then I'm going to do some projecting of geometry. So I'm going to project the edges around this shape so that I can dimension and constrain to them. As you can see, if I rotate my screen, you can see the projected edges there. Now that I have those, I'm just going to draw a couple of rectangles in. I'm not going to worry too much about exactly where they're located at. I'm going to avoid snapping to the midpoint, though, over here on the left side. That would create a constraint that I don't want. And then I'm going to line these up as I sketch over. It should have created a relationship there. If it didn't, I can come back and add maybe a vertical constraint between some endpoints or the Colinear constraint. Next, I'll add in some dimensions. So on the print, basically everything is 1/2 inch up. So this shape will be 0.5 and enter. And then from the bottom to the next one will be 1. From the bottom to the next one will be 1.5. And then I can add in the 2-dimension, or I can come back with an equal constraint and say that this vertical line needs to be equal to this vertical line. And that will do the same thing. Finally, I need to dimension these green lines to be 1/2 inch off of that right side. So I'll use my dimension tool, select the right side, and then one of these green lines, and then set those to 0.5. I'll go ahead and finish my sketch now, and then I'm going to extrude those two shapes as cuts. So I will extrude and select those shapes. I'm going to flip them the other direction. Looks like it automatically switched to cut. Otherwise I can click that there. And instead of a distance, I'm going to go ahead and have it go through all. Then I will click OK. Next I'm going to add the hole in, and the hole has a chamfer on each side. It's possible that I could create a countersunk hole to get one of the chamfers, but since I have to chamfer the other end anyways, I'm going to wait and do each of those with the chamfer command. So looking at my print, I've got a diameter 0.75 hole cutting through these. I'm going to use my hole tool. I'll click the surface, And then I will click the edge that I want to be concentric to. That will create my concentric location. And then I want to adjust the diameter to 0.75. And then I'll make sure that this is cutting through all. Then I will click OK. I still need to add the chamfers in. I'm going to wait and do that at the end, since I will have more features over here on the other piece to chamfer. Next, I'm going to go ahead and create that other extrusion, and once again, several different ways I can do this. I am going to create a sketch on one of my original origin planes right there. In my case, the XZ plane. So I'm going to sketch on that. I'll go ahead and rotate my view cube, so once again it's oriented similar to the print. Then I am going to use my project geometry tool to project the right side shape here so that I can use that line. Next, I'll create a rectangle. So I'm going to snap to one of those corners. And for now, I'm just going to arbitrarily draw this rectangle. And then I'm going to come back with my Colinear constraint to make that bottom line collinear with the existing part over here. And then finally, I'll add in one more dimension. So I'm going to dimension this a little differently than the print so that I can show you a neat tool. I am going to basically dimension what this would be to the tangency of the arc. So the center of the arc is 1.75 off of this edge over here, and then the radius of the shape is 1.25. So that's a total of 3. I'm going to go ahead and put in a dimension of 3 here. I'll finish, and then extrude that symmetric 1 inch. So it looks like I already have 1 inch. I'll set that to symmetric, and then click OK. Next, I want to round that shape. So as I said, I wanted to show you the full round tool. So for this, I'm going to click the drop down underneath Fillet and choose Full Round Fillet. If you take a look at the dialog box, I basically pick in order one side, the center face, and then the other side. So I will just simply select the side here, and then this would be the center face, and then I'll rotate around and click the opposite side. And you can see that I didn't have to know what that value was. It'll go ahead and completely round that shape for me. So I will go ahead and click OK. Next, I need another hole, this time with a diameter of 1. So I'll select the hole tool, and then the surface, and then the concentric feature. Then I will enter in my dimension of 1. I'll make sure this is cutting through all, and then OK. Next, I'm going to add the chamfers. So I have 0.06 by 0.06 chamfers on each of the 4 circular edges here. So I will begin my chamfer command. It's currently set to equal distances, so then I will just modify my distance to be 0.06. Then I will go ahead and pick all 4 edges. Then click OK. I'll select my home button to reorient my part, and then I'm ready for my fillets. The best way to handle this one is to fillet 4 of the edges first. That will give me a continuous loop for all of the rest of the fillets. So I'll begin with my fillet command. I'll have to click my drop down to get back to the regular fillet command here. I'll set my radius value to 0.125, 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to, once again, fillet 4 edges. So this one, and then the same ones on the bottom of the part. Then I will click OK. Next, I'll begin the fillet command again. And because in the advanced properties section down below, automatic edge chain is selected, if I pick one of the remaining edges, it will go ahead and fillet the rest of the part for me because they are, again, one continuous chain. Just to see what that would look like if that option was not selected, if I turn off automatic edge chain, it only picks the one edge. So once again, with fillet, automatic edge chain selected, I can get the rest of that part done with one click. And then again, I can click home to see my final part. Once again, if you would like to try this part along with me, take a look at the description for this video and you will find a link to the detailed drawing. Thanks for watching.